You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 13. So on this week's Small and Supercharged podcast, we are joined by Laura, who you might know much better as Girl About the Farm, or one word, on Instagram. Now, Laura's got a really, really interesting story about how she came to be Girl About the Farm. So I'm going to hand over to Laura to let her tell us all about it.
Hello, lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. So I, almost 2 years to the day actually, I gave up my job in marketing in the city to become a full-time farmer. So predominantly sheep farmer, but we do have cows as well. So a bit of a lifestyle change.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. So we farm. We have a farm tenancy on the Cowdray estate in West Sussex, and as I said, we've been farming for 2 years there. We have about 650 acres that spans across the South Downs. So I don't know if anyone knows of the South Downs. It's lovely, very, very beautiful. We have a lot of sheep and a few cows, and it's just myself and my husband. And then we have a sort of chap who helps out 3-4 days a week with us as well. So yeah, it's just been a mad 2 years really, just adapting to a completely new way of life. I'm definitely a townie, so going into country living has been an experience, but I definitely wouldn't go back now.
So what was your life like before the change? So you said you were in marketing in the city, so how would your kind of day go when you used to work there?
Just really conventional, I suppose. It was a bit of a transition because I was living in London for quite a few years, and my now husband, he moved back to his family farm a few years back, so probably about 6 years ago now. Okay. And we sort of decided we should probably try and live together after being together for 7 years. And then I sort of moved to his family farm 3 years ago. So I had a kind of year where I was living, I suppose, a bit of a double life, because I was commuting to my job every day. I moved down to Brighton actually after living in London, and so I was sort of commuting from the farm where we lived with my husband, his family, and so I was sort of doing that. So I was commuting from the farm and then coming back to the farm in the evening. So I suppose I had a year transition period, and then we saw this tenancy came up 15 miles down the road from Andy's family's farm, and we decided it was a really good opportunity to sort of go for that tenancy. And we weren't confident we would get it at all. We were quite shocked when we found out we did actually get the tenancy. But the idea was always that I would give up my full-time job if we did get the tenancy, just to help out and really make the leap at that point from working full-time. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, but I suppose I've had a transition period. But yeah, I mean, before that, a career in farming never even crossed my mind.
So was it by living on the farm that you just thought, actually, I really like this? Or what was the kind of the change? Because obviously London terrifies me. I don't understand it. I can't even navigate my way around it. Let's be perfectly honest. So quite a difference.
Yeah, I think so. I think, like you were sort of saying, I think I'd done quite a few seasons lambing, helping out Andy's parents, and I really enjoyed that side of things. I think nothing really prepares you though, like for doing it full time. It was all still quite romantic in a sense that I would help out at Easter doing the lambs, and then I would go back to my normal life. So whereas everyone else, obviously that was their life, so they would carry on. So I think it was all kind of hot cross buns and the fun side of farming, I suppose. But actually it is quite gritty when you get into it full time. And I did go into farming during the winter. Ooh. So that was quite a challenge. for my mind and my body.
Yes.
My fingers felt like they were going to fall off, I think, the first 3 months. But yeah, I had to get myself kind of geared up, and just had to kind of throw myself into it, really, because I think I definitely wouldn't have survived my first few months if I hadn't have done that. I just had to sort of turn my mindset to, right, this is, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to give this a real go. And yeah, it's definitely paid off. I think farming is a lot what you put into it.
Sure.
That's definitely something I've learnt over the last couple of years. But yeah, it was definitely a shock to the system. Just in terms of doing a practical job as well. Like you were saying, what was my job before? It was all very like I'd send an email and get an email back, and that was kind of I'd worry about what the content of my email was, and whether I'd made a mistake or any grammar errors or whatever. But then when I went into farming, everything's so practical. Like if you leave a gate open, all the sheep escape, and then you have to chase them back into the field. It was just a completely different mindset, really, which is great, but just totally different. But yeah, just crazy, really.
So when you told your boss, colleagues at work, that you weren't just sort of leaving to go and work for a different company, that you were leaving to go and to run a pretty blooming big farm, let's be honest, that's a lot of land. It's not even like you went smallholding and then, scaled up.
No.
All in. What, did they think you were mad, or were they very supportive? Or, I mean, I think it's amazing, but it's such a big, it feels like such a big leap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my boss, who I absolutely loved, she was one of the best bosses I ever had, really. I sort of told her that the way it happened was we found out we got the tenancy on the Friday, and that was the Friday evening. And because of the timings were quite tight, and I was quite keen to start the farm with Andy, my husband, so that I wasn't just sort of coming into it. And I was really keen to make sure that we started at the same time. So with the timings, I actually had to hand in my notice the following Monday.
Oh gosh.
So it was quite drastic. And obviously I had quite a lot of long-standing projects going on as well. So I'd sort of gone to this meeting on the Friday about forward planning 6 months ahead, and then I'd come in on Monday and said, to my boss Alison, can I have a meeting with you? And had to kind of throw a complete spanner in the works with everything. And I was in two minds because I was kind of in shock, really excited, obviously, to take on a new challenge, but absolutely terrified, and obviously quite sad because I did love my old job and I loved my old colleagues. So when I told my boss that I was giving up to be a farmer, I just promptly burst into tears.
Oh, bless you.
which wasn't the best or the most professional thing I've ever done. And then she burst into tears, so we both cried.
It sounds like the best way to hand in your notice, that everyone's sad, you know what I mean, rather than just sort of I've done this.
Yeah, definitely. But no, we sort of got a bit hysterical in the fact that we were laughing because it was so ridiculous. But no, she was super supportive, and I still keep in touch with her, and she's quite a lot of my work colleagues have visited the farm in one way or another. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was a shock for her as much as it was for me, really. So yeah, quite crazy.
But obviously now you're 2 years in, and you said, I think just earlier, that you wouldn't go back. So what kind of things do you really value now? What things have you really taken out from it that are very different to what you used to do?
I think I didn't really value just good old fresh air, really, which sounds a bit of a weird thing to say, but I think in my old job I would drive to the station, and then I'd get on a train for 20 minutes, and then I would walk, probably it's like a 2-minute walk to my office, and then I'd stay in my office all day, and then I would do the same and repeat, the whole thing again going home. And I didn't really see outside
Sure.
to be honest, apart from weekends or if I was maybe going out for lunch or whatever. And now my life is so much of it's outside that I love it, and I really notice it now if I'm spending a day inside doing an admin task. I'll have to sort of make myself go outside to walk the dogs, because if I don't, I'll go crazy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, because that's what I used to do every day. But yeah, so I think I value probably the simple things, simple everyday things that I perhaps didn't really realise I was missing when I was in an office. And the countryside, I mean, the countryside is so amazing, and I think there's definitely something to be said for a sunny day on the farm. It's hard to be down, really, isn't it, when you've got beautiful views and lovely countryside. So yeah, I really value that now, definitely.
And how many animals do you have? Because you said you had sheep and cattle, is that right?
Yes, yeah. So we have at the moment we have 11 cows.
Okay.
They're all steers. They're all Sussex cattle.
Sure.
For beef, and they're sort of outside. We have some what's called scientific interest fields.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so they sort of maintain that for us, and they're great at that. And then we have in total we have probably at the moment 1,500 ewes. So
Crikey.
We have a lot of ewes, and they're all for breeding. And then we have probably still 800 lambs, I'd say. Yeah, 800 lambs.
I mean, I've got a jaw-dropping face on. That's a lot of sheep. How on earth do you deal with that because you said it was yourself, your husband, and someone that helps you a few days a week?
Yes. So we run a really extensive system, the same as Andy's parents. So it sounds like I'm sort of taking credit for all of this. I'm really not.
No, go for it. Don't worry about it. Take it.
Andy's family set up the amazing system that we run. So we have New Zealand Romneys, and they are really hardy animals, and they do great on their own. They don't really like too much intervention. We don't supplement feed them. So we rotate them sort of every 3 to 4 days, and we spend our time really just moving them every 3 to 4 days. And if we need to treat them, we'll treat them. But effectively, they are just really low maintenance sheep, and they do really well to just kind of be left to their own devices, which is in turn great for us, because we don't need to intervene that much. So yeah, and we lamb them all outside as well. So
oh wow,
we lamb all outside. Yeah, so it's very sort of extensive and progressive system that they run, and yeah, they're great mums. So what we tend to do at lambing time is we sort of tend to drive around them we do it probably 2 to 3 times a day, each field, just to make sure everyone's happy. Any problems we'll sort of bring inside, any cold lambs or whatever we'll bring inside. But apart from that, they'll get on with it and raise their young, and yeah, they're pretty amazing, really. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing for humans, because a lamb is up within probably 30 seconds of being born.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken my kids... I don't even... this is such a bad mother. I can't even remember when they started walking, but it was definitely not 30 seconds.
No, exactly. No, it's kind of crazy. And yeah, they put us to shame, really, don't they?
Yes.
But they're amazing sheep. They're very beautiful to look at as well. And yeah, we're lucky to have a breed that, you know, lends itself to a grass-based low maintenance system, really. So that's kind of how we manage it between the three of us.
Sure, so that's a lot of animals to deal with just 3 people.
Yeah, no, it is. It's big numbers, but they're great on the South Downs as well, because yeah, they love it up there, and yeah, we have got a public footpath that runs through the whole of the farm, so okay. We're very much in the public eye the whole time. So we've got to make sure that we've got, you know, healthy, happy animals, because otherwise we'll definitely know about it. So
definitely. And how do you find working with your husband? Because obviously that's quite, again, I bet that's quite a change, as much as going from the city to the country, going from working in one environment to working day in, day out with your husband. I'm sure he's lovely, but it's still quite, spending that much time with any human is going to be quite something.
Yeah, people always ask me that, actually. We're really lucky. I mean, I don't want to, I'm sort of touching wood as I say this, because it's 2 years in and there's not been any sort of earth-shattering arguments that we've had.
That's good.
No, we're really lucky. I mean, it's good in a sense that we both have time away from each other in the fact that I'll sort of have my tasks that I do and Andy will have his.
Sure.
And I think laughter is probably the way that we get through most situations. I mean, we've had sheep on the road, we've had cows on the road, we've had just every sort of problem that you can ever think of to do with sheep. And I think the only way to sort of get through it is laughing at everything and just taking everything a bit with a pinch of salt, really. And when stuff has gone out, I mean, we've had the worst one, actually, I can think of, with the most stressed I think I've ever been on the farm, was, I think it was a couple of weeks into farming, we took these cattle on for somebody else, so we had them on a bed and breakfast basis.
Oh God,
that's my husband's terminology.
I did not know that was a thing with cattle, so I've learned something today.
So we had them in the barn, and I think we had 150 of these calves in the barn.
Good Lord.
And I wasn't very good with cows at that point. I'm still not brilliant with cows because they're very big.
Yes.
And they can definitely hurt you. So I was quite nervous of these cows. And I remember we went to check on them one morning, like we did most mornings. And I just opened the barn door and there was nothing in the barn. I couldn't see one animal. And they'd managed to lick the latch of the barn door, and they were making their way towards Midhurst, which is our local sort of town.
Oh my God, that's not a good morning.
It was not a good morning. I think I was nearly sick, and basically from that, all I can remember was grabbing luckily one of them had been quite sick, so I'd been bucket feeding a couple of them, and I just grabbed a bucket, and I remember saying to Andy in a complete panic, shall I just grab a bucket? And he said to me, if you want to grab a bucket. I said, I don't want to grab a bucket, I want the calves to be in the barn, I want to get them back in. And it was just, we ended up having this blazing row while I was sort of chasing around these cows, and we got all the cows back in eventually after I think it was about 2.5 hours of just complete headless.
I think that's very impressive.
Running around. Yeah. And then we sort of laughed afterwards, because in the heat of the moment, I think you can really, you can really say stuff that you can regret. So yeah. I think I've learned that.
No, and
just bite my tongue a bit sometimes.
To be fair, I think I would have done the same. I know if the horses ever do anything stupid, I'm like, we'll just get them some food and they'll give in. And usually, at least it just buys you some time.
Exactly. That definitely. And I think it's always, whenever anything gets out, I always think there's never been a time that we've never been able to get anything back in again. Yeah. So eventually it will go back in. It may take hours, but it's fine. Not to get too stressed out about it.
Gosh.
But yeah, so we're really lucky. We work really well together. But I think it's just being mindful of just biting your tongue a bit when stressful situations arise, which they do in farming all the time.
And I suppose you have got 650 acres to at least get a little bit of distance.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is always a win.
Maybe we could draw a line down the middle of the farm if we ever had a big argument, and he could just manage his half and I could manage mine.
That's always the option. I mean, I would make sure that the house is in yours, though, because you want to be warm.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Always.
Definitely.
I think it's interesting as well, because you've got the whole farming side, but you've really started blogging and really grabbed social media to the point that you won a silver award for, I can't remember the exact terminology.
Digital innovation. Is what I won the award for.
And was that the British Farming Awards?
Yes, it was, yeah.
So why did you decide that blogging, social media was a good idea? I mean, I'm such a social media fan and such a content fan, as in, I'm not sort of saying you crazy person, I'm going amazing, but it's quite you don't see that much. I'm seeing a lot more agricultural kind of bloggers and influencers, which is brilliant because I love that side of the countryside, not as much as horses because I've known horses for a long time, but I love all that side because I'm surrounded by sheep and cows and always manage to say crazy things to the farmers. Like when I called his cows malevolent, never do that. I mean, they were, but never do that.
Never do that, no.
No, he did not take that well. I mean, he'll get over it. It's fine. I was giving him money for my hay at the time, so no biggie. But why did you think it was good to blog about? Was that your marketing background coming in, or what made you think about the blogging and also the social?
I think when I first started doing it, it was mainly really for friends and family because they had no idea what I was sort of doing on a daily basis.
Sure.
And I thought it would be a really nice way to show them what my day entails. So that's sort of why I started to do it. But then I suppose once I'd been doing it for a bit, I got such a positive response, which was really lovely. And then I sort of started to feel that it was really nice to share maybe agriculture and farming through a novice's eyes. So through someone that perhaps people not from farming or countryside backgrounds could relate to.
Absolutely. I think that's a really, really good point because a lot of farming families they've been doing it for years and years, haven't they? And it's sort of an inherited thing in many ways. Obviously, I know there's a lot of education, knowledge, and I mean, the stuff that the farmers do around here blows my mind. I don't even know how they manage to do all those things.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, there is a bit of, there's still probably quite a city country divide. It's changing a bit, I think, but I think there's still perhaps people who don't necessarily, I've learned so much about farming and agriculture in the space of 2 years, stuff that I didn't, a field was just a field before I was farming, and now I'll definitely take notice of what crops are in a field when I drive past and stuff like that. I think there's still maybe a bit of a divide between country to city, but yeah, I think it was just nice to apart from anything, it was just a bit cathartic to write down what setting up a farm was like, really.
Sure.
And it's really nice to be able to look back as well from the last 2 years, almost like a bit of a diary, really, in Instagram and on the blog. But yeah, it was born out of really a want to just show what I was doing to my friends and family, and then it just sort of spiraled from that. And then I realised that actually people were interested in it, so I've sort of continued to do it, and hopefully, especially sort of getting this silver award has sort of spurred me on to maybe do a bit more with it as well.
So tell us a bit about the silver award, because this was, you say, the digital innovator. That was right,
Yes.
isn't it? So what was the award all about? I think such an interesting category at an awards where you wouldn't necessarily think about the digital aspects of life. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
No, it's amazing. I think it's really amazing that they put a digital category in there for starters, because I think there's so many amazing things in digital that go on within farming.
Yeah.
Whether that be in social media, there's so many amazing people doing great things with social media, but also in the tech side of things as well. Andy and I use our phones all the time on the farm for whether it's measuring, for example, measuring a field that we're putting electric fencing up on, just to make sure that we've got enough gear to put up, or whether it's just Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is incredible, really, isn't
life.
It?
Yeah.
The fact that we broke a sledgehammer the other day when we were fencing, and I just ordered it on my phone, and then it came the next day. That's
what you need. That's what you need.
Definitely. So yeah, it was amazing that they put a category to recognise that in there. And then I got nominated for it, so I did an application, and I didn't think really. I do have massive imposter syndrome all the time, and I didn't really even think that I would get in as a finalist. And then when I was a finalist, when I found out I was a finalist, I was sort of a bit blown away by that. And then I came away with the silver award, which was incredible. Really, I just did not think that there was any chance of that happening. So it was great. Really nice to be recognised.
Absolutely. And you say that spurred you on. So since you've had this interest in your blog and in your social media from people that aren't your family, or obviously they are friends now, but you know what I mean by I said not family or friends.
I know, yeah.
How have you changed your blog, or how do you see it evolving?
So I haven't changed it at the moment. I think I would really like to. I've done some lovely teachers from the local school near where I live got in contact with me through Instagram actually, and said, would I like to go and do a talk at their school? And I really, really enjoyed it. And I think I would like to do more of that side of thing. I know that's not digital, but
no, it's all good. It's all brand building and
exactly. So I'd like to do more kind of outreach to schools, and I think we're now forging a relationship with that school, and they're going to come at lambing time, which will be really lovely.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So that side of things, and then we've kept back a couple of wool sacks this year. I'm looking to get some products sort of developed from the wool that we have.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got really nice wool, so it'd be great to sort of utilise it. And so maybe going into some kind of e-commerce venture, depending on how that goes. I don't know. It's something I'm interested in. I really like British wool as a product. I think it's definitely should be really valued because it's
clever, amazing. Isn't it? It's not just sort of cozy. I used to work for a person who made it's actually saddle pads for horses, and they had a British wool element, and it's really clever stuff, isn't it?
It is really, it's amazing. As a natural fibre, it's incredible. So I would really like to do something with that. Potentially, we're looking at getting picnic rugs made.
Lovely.
We are on the Cowdray estate, so whether we could get some collaborations going on there, TBC. But
we love a collaboration. I'm very pro collaboration.
Yes, exactly. So that's another side of something that I'd look into. I think it's going to be a time for diversifying a lot in the next few years for farming. So anything that I can sort of add value to our business through is definitely not going to be wasted. So that's another side of things to look into. And then I think just probably streamlining the blog a bit, maybe doing a redesign, maybe getting some feedback from different people on how to improve it. And then lastly, probably doing more interactive stuff with other bloggers or other brands. I think I'd really like to continue to hero brands that I like. I'd like to be able to give some guest blog spots on my blog. I think just let somebody else kind of have a voice through it would be quite nice as well.
Sure.
So lots of thoughts, but nothing sort of pinpointed yet.
Because on your blog you do also, I'm sure I've seen a few product reviews as well.
Yes. So I have done a few product reviews. I really enjoy doing them. I think as the blog has sort of grown, it's really nice to be approached by different brands. It's always nice to hear people like your personal brand and want to sort of collaborate with you. I've become perhaps a bit more careful. I don't know how to word this. A bit more cautious, I suppose, with who I do product reviews for. Just because I really want to make sure that I'm always being authentic, because I think my blog is a personal blog, and I think that the reason why people follow me is because they think I'm an honest, well, I hope that they think I'm an honest person. I always want to make sure that I'm being true to myself. So yeah, I definitely continue to hero brands that I really love, and do product reviews for different brands that I would definitely buy myself as well. And I think that's really important, to just keep the authenticity there as well.
I think it really is important, actually, because especially as your following grows, you will get more and more offers, which is lovely and so flattering. But you don't want to be, giving people not great reviews is not good, obviously, but lying isn't an option. But also you don't want to be saying, oh yes, this lovely X is amazing, and you think, I would never wear that because with my lifestyle I would break it, smash it, catch it, I can't wash it in the machine, or it just wouldn't work. And I think it's really important, as you really hit the nail on the head there, you've got to be authentic and you've got to stay true to you.
No, it is really important. I think it's also very easy to spot when someone's not being authentic sometimes as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just always make sure that what I was saying was truthful. And it kind of, I mean, it sounds obvious, really, doesn't it, when you say it out loud? But
a lot of people don't know. I think, as you say, we can all spot a post that isn't authentic, or people that switch brands every 2 to 3 seconds, and you think, oh, hang on a minute, didn't you like their direct competitor last week?
Exactly. It's a tricky one as well, because I think everyone's evolving and everyone's learning as well. Like, it's such a new way of promoting brands through Instagram, and no one really, everyone's learning at the same time. So it's quite a weird one.
And I think as well, different industries have different sort of unwritten rules about things as well.
Definitely.
And I think that's quite an interesting thing to negotiate.
Definitely. And I think my problem as well is that I'm definitely a yes man, in terms of I like to say yes to people. I'm a massive people pleaser, which isn't sometimes that good, because obviously you're never going to please anyone, as I think you said in a previous podcast.
Oh, I like that you've quoted a podcast. Not everyone's. No, I like that. Well done, you. Not everyone's your people.
That's because I'm a people pleaser. That's why I've done that.
Yeah, thank you. No, but not everyone's your people.
Exactly.
And I think when you try and please everybody, as you say, you just end up pleasing no one, really.
Yeah, and I end up, lately I've dropped a few balls on what I've been doing, and I've not been 100% happy with whatever I've been doing or putting out there. And I think that's not just on my blog, that's some sort of personal projects as well.
Sure.
And I think it's just a lesson to be learned, in terms of maybe picking and choosing what you say yes to, and making sure that if you are saying yes, you can definitely do it to the best of your ability, because otherwise it takes all the enjoyment out of it, and just having something you're not 100% proud of is just a bit disappointing. So
absolutely, and especially as you being, with you being so busy with the farm and everything else, the great thing is that you can be more picky about who you work with, and you can really nurture your blog and your social media following, because it's not, I know you are clearly a blogger and have a silver award for it, but the good thing is it's kind of I want to say side hustle, but that's just...
It definitely is. No, I know exactly what I'm definitely first a farmer, second a blogger, definitely. Farming is my job title, and then blogger's my really nice side venture, I suppose. Me time away from my husband. So it's just always making sure you've got your priorities straight as well. And making sure that my husband doesn't divorce me for saying, can you take another photo of me?
Yeah, I mean, I think if he didn't divorce you over Cowgate, yes. I think it's probably going to be fine.
Oh dear.
But I know what you mean. I've yelled at my husband before if I wanted a picture of me in boots that isn't at the end of my, when I've with the Fairfax and Favour beautiful tassel campaign, I was desperate to take a picture of the tassels on the boots.
Yes.
And obviously your arm can only do so much when you're sort of walking the dog, and you scuttle back and you're like, no, I don't like any of those pictures. And you think, this poor bloke, I've dragged him out,
I know.
And I'm going, no, that's not what I had in my head. And you think, oh my God, this isn't real life.
I know. It is funny. I mean, Andy is very long suffering with it, but he's also brilliant. And I try, and now he's sort of got it down to an art, and he knows. We've got a good routine going on, but I'll rope friends in whenever I can, so that Andy can be subbed out of any photo duties.
Haven't you been making him do things he doesn't like as well? Didn't you make him go to a spa?
I made him go to a spa. Yes.
Such a good Instagram story.
I'm literally going to do a mini series on it. So my whole farming career has been me being in uncomfortable situations. So now it's like payback. So amazing. I think I did one Friday where Andy was on the tube, the London Underground, looking very shifty and uncomfortable.
That was
and then this Friday we had a spa evening that he absolutely hated.
I love your stories. I did chuckle because I thought that poor chap's expression, I would imagine my husband going, what are you doing? And actually my husband's even more jittery than yours looks on a tube. He makes me look like a London pro, and I am not. I need like a chaperone in London. I mean, it's an ongoing joke with people. They're like, oh, never go to London on your own. And you're like, do you want me to get horribly lost? I just go and ask random people for help, and then realise that that's not what you do in London.
Yeah, no one talks to me. Definitely don't talk to anyone in London. Gosh, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bad
you'll
mistake.
Get some filthy looks.
Yep. That has happened. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm lost now. I want to go home. So yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So have you got some other stuff you're going to put him through?
I don't know. I'm thinking I might take a Instagram vote maybe.
Yes.
I was thinking maybe some kind of horrendous music, I don't know, maybe take him to, I'm just trying to think of everything that he hates. I think, are the Spice Girls reforming? Because maybe I'll take him to see the Spice Girls, because he would absolutely hate that as well.
Nice
I would love it, but he'd hate it. So yeah, I just need to get plotting and just think of some other bits and bobs that he'll hate doing. He hates shopping, so I'll just take him shopping.
Well, Christmas is coming.
Yeah, exactly.
The worst time of year for shopping.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, well, that has been brilliant. Can you tell us all where we can find you on all your places, all your social media places?
Yes. So you can find me firstly on Instagram, so Girl About the Farm on Instagram, and then you can find my blog, my links in my bio of my Instagram, or you can go to girlaboutthefarm.co.uk, and then I'm also on Twitter. I'm Girl About Farm on Twitter, because Girl About the Farm was maybe taken, I think.
How dare they? How dare they?
I know. And then I'm also a bit on Facebook, but I'm a bit rubbish on Facebook. So I'm Girl About the Farm on Facebook as well. But I'd say Instagram's your best bet, or on my actual blog.
Instagram's your best bet. Excellent. Thank you so much. That has been really, really interesting. I can't wait to see your adventures carry on, as well as obviously as you as a blogger and a farmer, but also what are you going to subject your husband to next? I'm excited. I think you could do a little mini series on that. Definitely. No, thank you for having me, Ria. It's been really, really lovely, and I really enjoy listening to your podcasts when I'm sort of out and about on the farm as well. It's brilliant to be able to just listen to something that is a nice way to escape while I'm doing electric fencing. So we all need an escape from electric fencing.
Yeah. You keep me company in my ears anyway. And I love your stories as well. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the podcast.
Oh, you're a star. Thank you so much.